course, we are here for your next day thoughts between the Leeds United 1, Fulham 0, as we won 1-0 in a game where we won in the 90th minute. We got revenge. We did to them what they did to us back in early on in the season at Craven Cottage, of course. Going into this game, we'll talk about the game and everything. We'll talk about what Daniel Farke had to say. We'll talk about all of that. But yeah, I'm here, we're here, and we're ready to talk about it. So I think we should just get into it, really. There's not really anything to talk about. Normally, I think of something to talk about beforehand, but there's legit, like, nothing to talk about. There's not really many stats, really, actually, to talk about either of, like, things. You know, LUFC Data haven't actually uploaded any stats yet. So basically, yeah, they've got really not much to talk about. We'll talk about the game. We'll talk about a few performances. We'll talk about a few things that happened. Of course, it was a 1-0 win and a massive 3 points. You look at the Premier League table and, you know, we're looking up more than looking down. You know, we're not looking down at West Ham, really, even though it was so frustrating that they scored right at the end in their game, because I ended my stream on my watch and I was like, yeah, I'll leave and I'll do my review. And then I turned over to the Spurs-West Ham game. As soon as I did, the corner got whipped in, and Callum Wilson, who is still going, by the way, and won't be there, apparently, yeah, he scored the winner for them. That kind of pissed me off of, like, fucking hell, like, because I thought he was, I thought I was stupid. Like, I think other people were too. I didn't even think he was supposed to be there. I thought he was gone. I thought it was done and he was already left, but apparently not. So I was kind of like, wait, Callum Wilson's still playing for West Ham? I thought his contract got ripped up. I thought he was gone, but apparently he still is going. So that's great that he had to score the winner for them, and it keeps it at 8 points instead of, it would have been 10. It would have been 10 points, basically, yeah, because they would have drawn. Of course, you look up at the table now, and you look at teams like Bournemouth, who are 1 point ahead of us. Their goal difference is just -6, while ours is -7. You look above that, Spurs, they're only 2 points ahead of us. It's the same, so we are 8 points behind. Sorry, we are 8 points ahead of West Ham. So we're 8 points ahead of West Ham. You look at that, and you go, okay. In the same sense, we're... From us to West Ham, it's the same position from us to Brentford in 7th in the league. So you look at that and you actually go, wow, we're actually, like, we're as far away we're as close to 7th as we are the relegation zone. So you never know if we can go on a run. Of course, we've got a couple of tough games coming up. We got Everton, we got Arsenal. You know, we've got tough games coming up in our next couple of fixtures. You know, you look at that and you got Everton, tough away game. Arsenal, even though we're at home, do I think we're going to win? Probably not. Then we got Wolves, who are doing very well in 2026, so you never know. They might actually have a chance to beat us, but because it's Ellen Road, I think we win that. You know, we've got Man United, Brentford, Palace, Sunderland, Man City, Aston Villa. So we've got a pretty tough run, but if we can go on a similar run, you know, to December and stuff, and we can go on a run of maybe, you know, a similar run, but a bit more wins, you never know. We could be up there in 10th, 11th, you know, safe mid-table finish this season. Like, it's a possibility we could be just a mid-table team this season, which I think would be great if we can do that. You look at the form table. We're up in 5th in the league in the form table, and you look at that and you go, wow, maybe this team is actually, like, a very good Premier League team that maybe next season, even when you look at, like, who we're going to bring in, you go, we don't really need to make a lot of... we still need to make some changes, and we still need to bring in other players that compete with the starters, and, you know, we need to do that. We need to keep signing players that are going to compete with the starters and make our squad better and better, and make our bench better and better, of course. And we're going to see some sales at the end of the season, I think. I could honestly see a Tanaka and Nonto, just because we bought them on the... You know, they were pretty cheap when we bought them, and we could sell them for a good enough price to be like, yeah, that's good PSR. I like every player, so I don't like when you talk about players leaving. Like, I like a lot of our players, I don't like it, but, you know, with a Tanaka and a Nonto, and, you know, these players that we spend, like, no money on, you look at that and you go, okay, it's good for us to build a better overall squad. And, you know, going into next season, I'm, like, confident, you know, with the form table that we've been on, and if we stay with the back three next season, because we don't know if Daniel Farke's going to stick with the back three. I think he will. But there is that thing about what happens if we get found out next season. I don't know why I'm talking about next season, but, you know, you get found out or something. So, but Farke has shown that he can adapt, which is what I really like. Farke has shown that he can adapt with the squad, which is why I'm even more confident that, like, if the 3-back doesn't work next season, he'll just change it and it'll work, because the way he's done this season, the way he can adapt in different formations from a 3-5-2 to a 3-4-3 to a 4-3-3. He could, you know, it's good that we can adapt to different formations if one isn't working. And, like, you know, I think, like, that's good for us. That's what we need. You know, that's what we didn't have under Bielsa. And, like, I loved Bielsa. We all did. But we all know what happened that second season. We had a lot of injuries and we kind of got a bit found out. I see people, I don't know like how everyone says that we got found out. We did get found out, but the context needs to be the injuries. Our entire spine got injured from centre back, our DM and our striker. So yeah, it's a bit unfortunate with that. But having a manager now in Daniel Farke who can adapt to different systems and different ways of playing is great. So that's why I trust him. Farke's contract also ends in 2027, so that's another thing. I think we give him a new deal at the end of the season because I think we stay up now. Honestly, I'm pretty confident we stay up 8 points clear of the relegation zone. Of course, that can change if West Ham win one game and we lose a game, but at the moment, as long as it stays 8 points clear, I'm pretty calm. They get a win and we don't get a win, and they kind of make it a bit close. So you start going a bit like, oh. That might make you start thinking, maybe it's not over. But at the moment, I feel confident. I feel so confident that we can stay up this season. As I said, 5th in the form table, massive. And as I said, next season, I could honestly see us going for maybe not a European charge. Like a European charge is like up there, like 10th, 9th, 8th, pushing for it. Because generally, if we continue this form into next season and the way we're playing, could see us being up there with some additions into the team, some additions on the bench and also in the starting 11, pushing some players onto the bench as well. Like I like our team, I like the squad, but if we can upgrade as many players as possible, that's always going to be a bonus. Of course, next season the goalkeeper is going to be massive. We're going to need to spend some money on a goalkeeper again, I think, and I'm hoping the club will. But yeah. So let's get into what Daniel Farke had to say after the Fulham game. So we won 1-0. Of course, Daniel Farke had to say we faced an informed Fulham side. Yes, fully deserved to win it. Yeah, I think we were the better team. I think we were the better team. I think we could have had 2, 3, 4 goals. I mean, Aronson should have scored in the first half with his shot that went into Rosetta, went flying. Metch's second chance where Aronson feeds him through probably should do better and score. There's probably like another couple of half chance, the DCL chance. Got to work the keeper a bit better and not hit it straight at him. The Metcha header as well. I mean, that's so close to going in. I think we had a couple of chances where we could have scored. There was another shot. I can't remember who took it, but it went straight to the keeper. I think it might have been Goodmanson or Bogle or someone. Anyway, but we had our chances. Did not concede any chances. Clean sheet, which is a positive. We always have to talk about a positive in a clean sheet, which, is something that we don't get a lot of. So when we do get a clean sheet, it's a lot of positives. I think defensively we're really good and we have a really good defense, but it's weird that we can't seem to get a lot of clean sheets. So I'm happy that we were able to get a clean sheet in this game. And in this manner, after the late playing against Newcastle and Fulham, 2 key players injured in the last session yesterday. So he basically confirmed that Stack and Biel's injuries happened in the training session the day before the game, which, isn't great. And the way Farke can just go, okay, I'll adapt to that and play Gruev. I know people don't like Gruev, but Gruev, good performance, put him in there. James be like, okay, Bornau's played a lot of minutes recently. I don't really want to start him in this game. Bornau has played a lot of minutes recently. We don't want to risk him from injury. He's played a lot of minutes. He needs a bit more of a rest. Bang, James Justin in at centre-back. Good performance. It's good that we have that being able to adapt in these situations. Farke asked if Biel's injury prompted action in the window for a centre-back. Says much depends on recovery in the next few days, especially to be out for 3 to 5 weeks. So yeah, he's expected to be out for 3 to 5 weeks is Biel. If he has any setbacks in the next week or so, he doesn't rule out a move for someone late in the window. See, when Farke says this, I look at that as like, oh, so we're not going to go after a centre-back. We're not going to go after a centre-back at all, like, if Biel's fine. But I do feel like I do want another centre-back just for cover, because if we get 2 injuries at centre-back, you're like, James Justin can play there, I guess, but that then leaves us a bit light at fullback then. If James Justin has to come in, if, say, Strauch gets an injury and Biel's injured say Strauch gets injured and then Bornau gets injured and, we go into a little bit of injury crisis, and we're at that stage where James Justin's starting and then we don't have that cover at fullback. So it is a thing of like, I would love another centre-back just as cover. Don't have to be spending a lot of money on a centre-back. I'll take like a cheap centre-back just for cover. But yeah, it is one of those things. But it looks like we're not going to do that. It looks like Farke isn't going to do that. We're not going to sign a centre-back. But you never know. Things can change. You never know. He could be just bluffing and then all of a sudden we sign someone in the next couple of days at centre-back. Daniel Faxon said, lack of consistency from the referee, frustrating with the yellow for Ampadu, who misheard the whistle before throwing the ball because he thought it was our free kick, so he threw the ball down the other end like, oh yeah, we'll take the free kick, and then got yellowed. While Lukic should have had a yellow for intentionally kicking the ball away. Lukic doesn't get a second yellow for kicking the ball away. That would have been a second yellow and would have had him sent off. But of course, the referee doesn't give him a second yellow, and I feel like referees are kind of... I don't know. I feel like there's something with referees about if a player's already on a yellow, they don't want to give him a second yellow for booting the ball away. Now, I will give some credit to the referee on this. The referee didn't see the Lukic kicking the ball away. The linesman did. The linesman's the one that saw it. So when Lukic kicked the ball away, the ref was looking in the other way, basically. But the linesman could easily see it. He was right in front of it, and he doesn't tell the ref to give him a yellow. So that's all more on the linesman than the referee. I'm not looking at the referee for that. I'm looking at the linesman. I think this is because it would have meant our first half red card. That's another thing. That's what Fark just said as well. So yeah, that's a thing that you could look at of like, oh, he doesn't want to... yes, mate, love to see the passion for Leeds much on together. Yeah, thanks, Freddie. Yeah, it is one of those things that I think referees are a bit scared to give second yellows for kicking the ball away. Like, for me, like, it's annoying because a yellow card is throwing the ball away the same as what Wilson did. But what Wilson did, I don't think is a red card. I don't know if throwing the ball away should be a yellow card. Maybe there should be a warning at first. Maybe that's what they should do. The first time someone throws a ball away, it's a warning to the team, not to the player. It's a warning to the team. Next time a player, so you get one warning as a team. For instances like what just happened in this game, like for those instances where Ampadu didn't hear him and threw the ball accidentally down the other way, thinking it was our free kick. For those instances, I think there should be like a warning at first for the first one, and then maybe a yellow for the second one. Up the Leeds well in Mecha. Yeah, Mecha, brilliant finish. We'll get into that. But yeah, that's all Daniel Fark had to say. There's not really much to talk about with what Daniel Fark had to say in that. We'll go through a couple of things. With 16 games still to go, Leeds United have now equalised on or bettered all three promoted teams last season. Post total for last season. Time to start looking upwards, which is what I said. We got Spurs who are 2 points ahead of us. We got Bournemouth who are just ahead of us by a point, I think. I said, you got a couple of teams where we could catch them. And yeah, we're looking good. Lucas Mecha's goal in the 90th minute and 7th second was Leeds United's latest winning goal in the Premier League match since Jack Harrison's at Brentford in May 2022 in the 93rd and 19th minute. And the latest at Ellen Road since Joe Gelhardt's winner against Norwich in March 2022, which was the 93rd minute and 38th second. So that's some more stats we can look at. Leeds versus Fulham in the 25-26 is the first time a Premier League fixture has been won 1-0 with a 90th minute winner on both times in a single season. Enjoyed today a bit more than Goodman's header in September. I mean, yeah. Ethan Ampadu created 4 chances today for Leeds. He's joint most ever in a league appearance in his career. What an assist for the winner. Great assist. The cross was brilliant. I mean, the finish from Mecha just, like, the commentator said it as well. It's a striker's finish. It's an absolute striker's finish. And Mecha is the player who I really rate Mecha as a striker. Like, I rate him as a really good striker. The problem is when you play him on the left wing, you're not going to get the best out of a striker when you play him on the wing. And that's exactly what we did in this game. We played him on the wing. You play a striker on the wing, what do you expect? Do you expect him to be good? Do you expect him to be at his top level? Probably not. Lucas Mecha has more Premier League goals, 5 in 608 minutes, than Mohamed Salah at 4 in 1,183 minutes this season. That's another thing you got to look at. 5 goals in 608 minutes, one more goal. If he gets another goal, say, in the next game, it's legit like 1 goal every 100 minutes, which very good goal scoring rate. That's a very good goal scoring rate. One more goal in the next game or in the next couple of games, and he could have 6 goals, and it'll be basically 1 goal every 100 minutes, every 100 or so minutes, which that's great for him. Like, he's been absolutely brilliant. He's brilliant in front of goal. The goals he's scored this season. He's a really good. He's a clutch player as well. You got to look at him as a clutch player. Of course, the opening day, he had the penalty, very clutch in that. Very nervous penalty. Making your debut, coming off the bench, taking the penalty, scores it. You look at some of his finishes he's had this season. The one against Forest that comes to mind. Brilliant finish from outside the box into the bottom corner. He had the Man City one where he missed the pen but scored it. I think he had... what was the other game? But yeah, he's had a very good season so far, in my opinion. I think he's given us more than what we expected from him as well. I don't think we expected Lucas Mecha to have this good of a season, really. Like, if you look like a free signings, like 2 free striker signings. I mean, it's been brilliant, hasn't it? For 2 free for 2 free striker signings, you know, not bad. We'll go and we'll look at it. I actually want to see, like, let's go like that. Okay. 2 free striker signings. It isn't bad that, you know, you have Lucas Mecha this season who's played 19 games, 6 starts, 33 minutes played per game, 627 minutes overall, 5 goals with a 4.9 XG. So he's basically on his XG with a scoring frequency of every 125 minutes. I mean, he's been great this season. He's missed 5 big chances this season, so he gets into the positions. I really like Mecha as a striker, as I said. I think he's the perfect clutch player for where we are right now. And who knows, maybe even in the future, because I think he's just that player that you can rely on off the bench to just make that impact. Like, if the ball drops to him in a very tight game, if the ball drops to him in the last minute, I trust him probably more than Dominic Calvert-Lewin, even though DCL's been brilliant. Don't get me wrong, he's been absolutely phenomenal. I just think Metch is that clutch player who, like, loves that moment of, like, a late winner and, you know, taking those moments. Like, he's taken those moments well this season. You know, the games he scored in the Man City game, which was the penalty, which rebounded, the Aston Villa game where the ball just bounced off his foot. The Forest game, brilliant finish, the penalty. And this game, I mean, he's got some good goals. He could have had like a hat-trick in this game off the bench, by the way. He could have had a hat-trick. That header was so close to going in, that header. And then he had the one where Aronson fed him in at the end. And you're like, could honestly have had a hat-trick. Very unlucky not to, really. At least have 2. It was a brilliant save by Leno, the last one. I mean, but yeah, you have Mecha who's done that, and then you look at DCL this season, who, you know, did it. Oh my god, why is it doing this? There we go. Yeah, then you have DCL, who has had 20 appearances, started 15 of those, played 70 minutes per game, 1,404 minutes played. He's made 9 goals with an XG of 8.19, so above his XG, with a goals frequency of every 156 minutes. Also 1 assist. He's missed 8 big chances this season. The keeper situation at the moment, I'd probably stick with Darlow. I don't know, like, I like Perry. I think Perry is a good keeper. You got to remember, first season in England, it is a thing. But it is one of those things about, we spent 16 million on the guy. I don't think we can just give up straight away and be like, oh no, and make him our second choice. I think what I'm trying to say, I think Perry will be our number 1 by the end of the season. I think he'll be back to being our number 1. But I think at the moment you keep Darlow in. I know he had that terrifying moment in the game at 0-0 where he came flying out and headed it straight to, I think it was, what's his name? Smith Rowe. And they nearly scored from it, and you're like, oh my god, he just makes that mistake, and you're just like, maybe not. Maybe I'm not that comfortable. You know, I think he's better distribution-wise. I think Darlow is. But yeah, that moment had me worried. He almost absolutely ruined it. He just comes flying out and headers it. It felt like a Melier versus, it was Wolves, wasn't it? Where he came flying out and headed it, and then they kicked it over him and into the back of the net. It felt similar to that, of him just come flying out and then almost conceding from that. But no, I'll stick with Darlow for now, because I think Darlow's good enough in this game to keep his spot. I don't think Darlow will come out unless he makes a massive howl, like a massive error. Like, I don't think he'll come out unless he makes like a bad goalkeeping error where he should save it. Daniel Farke, I think, is just basically what he's doing is he's taking Perry out the firing line. You know, last season we saw it with Melier. I know it took a while for it to happen, but with Melier, I feel like, the thing is, I think Farke liked Melier, not liked him more. How do I put this? Because Perry wasn't Farke's first choice. Like, Farke didn't actually want Perry. The board didn't want Perry either. They both wanted 2 different players, and then we all know what happened. Perry became available, so we signed him. So it was one of those things about, really, he wasn't our first, probably second, third choice, to be honest. He just became available and he was there, and we're like, oh, we'll take him. And it's a bit worrying. That's a bit worrying, but I do think that Perry's going to be a good keeper at Leeds. I think he's good enough. I just think as I said, he's just come to a new country, just come to England. I think it might take him some time, but at the moment, I do think that Darlow will keep his spot. Because I think Darlow was fine in this game besides that one mishap. He had really nothing to do. He had like one shot that was like right at him, and that was about it. He didn't really have anything really to do. His catching was good. You know, he came and received the ball from like crosses and stuff, but overall didn't really have any scares besides, you know, that moment that he made himself. But yeah, I thought overall you can't really take him out, but he didn't really do anything to be like, oh my god, yeah, he's such a difference maker compared to Perry. So he wasn't like, oh my god, he's a difference maker. But he should just keep his spot because, in my opinion, I don't know how you can change it. By the way, I don't know how you can change it. But yeah, going back on the performance, basically, it was a very good performance. You know, I don't think Fark trusts Ball now. Justin is doing a great job, but with BL out for 4 weeks, I think he needs another centre back option. I think he trusts Ball now. Like, I think he trusts Ball now, but I think he didn't play him because he's played so many minutes recently, and he's an injury-prone player. So I kind of think he's kind of managing Bornow's minutes. I think it's more managing the guy's minutes because you don't want him to get injured again, because if he gets injured, then, well, we're in that stage where we look at our depth and we start going, oh, we didn't have that much cover left, do we? Because Bornow's played a lot of minutes in recent games. He started a couple of recent games. I think Fark trusts him. I just think this was a game where he's like, oh, I'll play James Justin there because he's been good in the last couple of games defensively as well, James Justin. So yeah, I mean, I look at Bornell's recent games. If we can I look at his recent games? You know, this season he's probably played more minutes than what most people would have probably thought he would play. How many minutes has he played this season? He's made 6 appearances, started 2 games. Minutes played was 174 at the moment, but I think it is that thing of like he did get an injury after one of the games. I don't remember which one it was. He was a bit injured. But yeah, it is that thing of like you don't want to overplay an injury-prone player like Bornow. But I think Bornow is a good centre-back. I think he's good cover. He's a good covering centre-back that can come in when he's needed. Which is, I think that's what Fark is with him. I think it's more, I think we need a centre-back who can come in for Strauch if Strauch gets injured, which he hasn't yet, but normally he gets that yearly injury. So we're hoping that doesn't happen at the moment with the squad depth as well. That's another thing. And as I already said earlier, James Justin at centre-back, that leaves you open as well with depth at full-back. But yeah, I do think he trusts him. I just think this game, he was like, I'm going to play James Justin because he's been good in recent games defensively. And he decided just to play him. And the fact that Bornow's played a lot of minutes. I think, oh my God. I think Bornow is more of a Rodon replacement in game. So he's more of a Rodon replacement. Where you look at, you know, I'm looking at the team right now. Like, I don't know if Fark would trust a Bornow in the middle of the back 3. But if Bornow did play, you'd have to play in the middle of this back 3. That, you know, if we played Bornow instead of Justin, you'd have to probably play him in the middle. And I don't know if Fark would trust him in the middle. Because in this game, Rodon played the middle of the back 3. Well, it says it here, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, well, he did. Because at times, James Justin was playing as, they were playing as both double fullback. They were playing Bowler, James Justin were both playing as fullbacks at some points in this game. But yeah, Rodon was in the middle. I don't think he wanted to play Bornow just because pace-wise, and I don't know if he wants to play him in the middle of the back 3. And it is one of those things about certain games will fit certain players. But yeah, I'm enjoying the team. I like the performances. I like the fact of our bench. Like, you look at our bench, we've got Nonto, Tanaka, Mecha, Bornow, Perry, Byram, Longstaff, Buonanotte, Pirro. You look at that, you got only Dan James is out for us right now. And he's back in like 2 weeks. I think it's going to be like 2 weeks until he's back in training and stuff. So he's another player who you could bring on off the bench in that front 2 role or on the wing as an impact off the bench. And I think that's Dan James's role in a Premier League side. I don't think he's good enough to be a starter in the Premier League. And especially in this system, I don't think he's good enough to be a starter. But off the bench, Dan James would be brilliant off the bench in this kind of, in the Premier League. I think it's always scary when a player's coming on that has pace. And Dan James has a lot of pace. But yeah, I like the fact that we got so much depth. You know, you got players like, if we were 1-0 up against Fulham, let's just say, and say we scored one of those chances in like the 70th minute or whatever, or the first half, you bring on like a Longstaff who will defend and hold it up. You got you know, we got more of an attacking midfielder in like a Tanaka. You got like a a Buonanotte when he can start playing football, because he's not played much, and I knew he wouldn't come on the pitch in this game because he hasn't really played much football at all this season. So I didn't think he would actually play much football. I didn't think he would play in this game at all. I didn't think he would come on. But you know, you got attacking subs like that, and then you got your defensive stuff. You got your Bornells. You got your long stuff. You got your Bornells. Depending on who starts, you might have a Gruev off the bench. Another thing you could have, which I think we should now, just based off his last couple of performances, is Okafor on the bench. I think Okafor should be on the bench in the next game. I don't know if that means you play Mectra up top with DCL, which is a possibility, or do you put Aronson up top in like a front two and then play Tanaka as an 8? Maybe that's what you do. Maybe you put Tanaka in the 8 role, take Okafor out, put Aronson there. Because at the moment, for me, the players at the moment, based off form, that they legit can't be dropped, in my opinion, are Aronson, DCL. I mean, you're obvious is like, yeah, Ampadu, you know he can't be dropped. So, like, yeah, Aronson's DCL, Ampadu. And then, you know, I'm not going to go through all, but Rodon won't be dropped. Strauch won't be dropped either. Like, those players aren't going to be dropped. Where you look at some players, you look at, like, James Justin and Bogle. And then you look at, like, okay, Goodmanson probably won't be dropped because we've got no other option there. That's another thing. I'd like cover for Goodmanson as well. It'd be nice to have some cover for Goodmanson. When Dan James comes back, even Dan James, when he comes back, he could play a wing-back role off the bench. Or, you know, if you know, some good, we wanted to give Goodmanson a rest, Dan James can play that role. Dan James can play that full-back role, which I think would be a good role for him in this team. In this system, I think that's the best role for him, is in that full-back role. I don't think, as I said, I don't think, yeah, I don't think so. Strand Larsen's all been on the bench, and, like, I'm not going to read into it, but Wolves' squad has been released, and, Strand Larsen's on the bench, but I won't read much into that because he's been on the bench for the last couple of games with, Mane starting, who looks like a very good footballer, by the way. And he might be someone that someone near the bottom of the Premier League, or maybe like a newly promoted team might take off Wolves when they get promoted. Like, I could see, like, if Coventry come up, I mean, they could still bottle it. I know they won yesterday or whatever, but they almost bottled it. They almost lost. They almost started the bottle. But, yeah. But it is one of those things about, I mean, he's one player that, like, if I was like a Coventry coming up or something like that, I would look at him as maybe a player to sign. But yeah, I wouldn't read too much into that whole Wolves thing about Strand Larsen not starting, because he hasn't started in the league for them for a while, so not really much to talk about that. But yeah, that's probably gonna be the end of the stream. I was gonna, there's not much really to talk about. There's no like stats to actually talk about. But yeah, a happy performance, a nice win, and yeah, tomorrow will be, of course, Premier League predictions. They'll be out tomorrow. And yeah, I'll see you guys. Well, you guys will see that video come out, and there might be another stream if any transfers happen. So if there's any transfers, big transfer news happening, or a transfer actually happening, I'll try and make a video. I'll probably come live if we get any news about like a signing or someone possibly signing. And normally I'll wait until there's that actual signing in January, because I don't really like making those type of videos in January. Like, after the season, I'll make those videos and talk about signings and people we could sign, and like rumors and stuff. But like during the season and stuff, and during January and stuff, I don't really like doing that, because, you know, I like focusing on the actual football that's happening. But if we do make a signing, then I'll come live. Which, honestly, I could see us making one more before the end of the window, whether that's a defender, whether that's a striker. I think it's going to be one of those two. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you do subscribe on your way out. Make sure you like. If you're watching this later, make sure you leave in the comments down below who was your man of the match for this game, or, you know, anything really. I thought mine was Ampadu, as I said in my review yesterday. If you haven't watched that, make sure you watch that. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.